Hey guys, Ava here. I'm in the mountains of Morocco. I'm sliding down a very narrow footpath, and over the next couple of days I'll be staying with a local Berber family in that village over there. In order to get to the village you actually have to do a little hike, and I've got Ismail here who is 14 and he is my local guide who's taking me to the village. I'll be staying with some of his family and friends right there. So excited. This will be a completely unique experience. I've been to Morocco a couple of times before, but never to a place as remote and as local as this one. Wow. This was to be my home for the next 3 days. Pretty off the grid, huh? I was in Morocco, Africa's most popular tourism destination. Yet I was the only tourist here. I had just arrived in a tiny village in the Atlas Mountains, a village that isn't even named on Google Maps. A friend of a friend had arranged for me to stay with her family there, and that's how I found myself making the 7-hour trip from Marrakesh to, well, I'm still not sure what it's called. We drove through small villages and beautiful mountains, and eventually I found myself following a teenage boy across a dried-out riverbed to my new home. I was staying at the home of Khadija. They're an Amazigh family, though the world knows them better as Berbers. And as soon as guests come to visit, the tea begins to flow. Let me show you guys around this beautiful traditional village house. This right here, this is the courtyard. It's kind of structured like a traditional Moroccan riad with a central space in the middle where people can gather. Up there, that is the hospitality room. So you have to go up these stairs, very, very narrow, until you get to a little balcony with a view over the central courtyard and the village out there. And this is where we enter the guest room. This room is dedicated to welcoming guests. There are carpets all along the walls, and there are 2 tables right here in the middle. This is where tea and meals would be served. And this right here, this is the traditional straw and wood ceiling. Absolutely beautiful. Some of these ceilings are over 100 years old. So that was the guest room, the hospitality room. Now I'm gonna shut this beautiful blue door behind me, and I'm gonna show you this part of the house. And in order to get there, we have to go downstairs. Better watch out for your head. These ceilings here are pretty low built, pretty dark. It's difficult to see. And here we are. On the other side of the courtyard, there is a storage room where the family stores all of their food, vegetables, and supplies. You enter it through a tiny little door, just like this. Whoop! If you can squeeze through. I barely can. These are some of the utensils that the family store for general housekeeping and cooking. For example, these are branches for the fire. This is one of the ovens that they use for bread. And this here is another. And there is one more here and another here. Each of these ovens makes a slightly different kind of bread. That's why there are so many. And trust me, the art of bread making in North African and Middle Eastern cultures, it's a real thing. There is a single window, well, if you can call it that, right above in the ceiling. A single tiny little window like this ensures that the entire room stays cool. For the families who live here during scorching hot Moroccan summers, a room like this would have been an absolute blessing, completely indispensable, because it would have allowed them to store their food in the cold, in the cool, and fresh for much, much longer. Ça va? And over here, this apparently is the chickens section of the house. Hello. Sorry. All right. Sorry for disturbing you. There is one more spot I need to show you, and that is the kitchen. Wouldn't wanna get Khadija angry, trust me. Khadija just called me in to show me how the traditional bread here is made. It's called khubz, right? Ça s'appelle khubz. Agram. Ismail's always helping me out with the local language, and here we are. This is Khadija making the traditional khubz. C'est du travail très difficile. Tu peux le faire? No? This is really hard work, guys. Honestly, I'm just doing this in a completely wonky way. C'est bon, tamam? Oh no. Il faut le qui? Il faut le qui? Éclat. That means good. Okay, Khadija decided to take the power of the tool away from me because clearly I was not doing a very good job. Khadija has just gone inside the oven room with all of our bread dough. So I'm gonna follow her in. Woo! Oh, there it is. This is our tandoor, our oven, and we're about to start baking bread. This is super amazing to see. Khadija literally takes the bread dough, puts some water on it, and then sticks it onto the walls of the oven with her bare hands. It's really hot in there, trust me. The first loaf of bread is now ready. Khadija literally just unstuck it from the wall of the oven with a little wooden stick. Here we go. Hot, hot, hot. This room has just become extremely, extremely smoky. It's hard to breathe. I better go outside. Argum. Argum. And then what you do is you wash that bread down with this beautiful Moroccan tea. Ça c'est l'école. Ça c'est l'autre village. Right over there, that's the school on the hilltop, and there is the neighboring village. This is the home. It's pretty simple and pretty modest. They are a very modest family, and yet they've decided to welcome me, a foreign guest, someone that they simply don't know, and they welcomed me with truly open arms. I was told that the Amazigh people are proud of their hospitality. Confirmed. We were soon invited to visit a neighbor, Fanna. So we're sitting here on Fanna's terrace at sunset. From her home, you could see the rooftops of the village and the valley that surrounds it. The sun is just about to set and we're going back home before it gets dark and too cold. It's very freezing in here. The very fresh air from the mountains, but it's winter, so it's cold. Cold, cold, cold. Just before sunset, we all walked across the wadi again to Khadija's cousin's home. I would spend the night there with the women of the family. You have to know that this is a pretty traditional and conservative area of Morocco, and in the local culture, it's just inappropriate for me to stay in their house because it's mostly men and boys who are staying there at the moment. So a girl alone, that would just not be appropriate, let's put it that way. So they were kind enough to put me up in the house of one of their cousins, which is just here next to the village over the road, and this is where I'll be staying for the night. Morning, guys. It's been a really cold night, which I spent under about 4 layers of blankets. It gets really cold here in these mountains, and there's nothing like central heating. These things don't exist here, so blankets is all you've got. I hear sounds coming from the kitchen, so I better go and check out the breakfast situation. Let's go. We're just about to have breakfast here in this room where the ladies of the house slept. And this is our breakfast table right here. We've got geva and ate, that's coffee and tea. Hoops is the local name for bread, and usually it's pretty fluffy, thick bread that's a little bit crunchy on the outside and soft on the inside. And you dip it here in this oil. And this is zait? Zait. Perfect breakfast. Look, we have an unexpected guest. Aww. I think our baby goat here is a little bit hungry. And of course, you never say no to top-ups. Right, we've just decided to go for a little roam around the beautiful mountains here. So we left the village behind, and I'm here with Abdul Karim and of course with Ismail over there, and we're gonna go on a little mountain hike. They're my guides because they know these parts like the back of their hand. After all, this is their home. There's something super awesome about this place. I'm not sure if you can sense it or feel it, but we are walking down a road. There are no cars here, there is no sound of cars, there is no noise pollution. All I can hear is the wind and roosters and our own steps. And this gentleman here is building a canal. The reason why he's building these canals is in order to water this land. This, I don't know if you'll believe it or not, is actually a tiny little field right here on the side of the mountain. You can actually grow all sorts of vegetables here. Atay? Oui, pourquoi pas? He's just suggested that we have a little cup of tea. Merci beaucoup. Shukran. Atay. Delicious Moroccan tea. Just perfect. The mountains, so beautiful here. And this cup of tea just makes it even better. Ah, shukran. Shukran, shukran. Ma salama. This is the sweetest thing in the world. We just got back and the dad of the family just brought me some coffee, qahwa, as well as khubz and some nuts, locally picked almonds from the mountains that we were just hiking in. This is amazing. I found myself falling in love with this landscape and this family. They don't have it easy up here. Not many jobs, no infrastructure. It's really tough out here. And yet, they welcomed me to their home without hesitation. We're just about to sit down to prepare a tagine. A tagine is a traditional Moroccan dish which contains a lot of vegetables, often meat, and it's often served with rice or couscous. I've seen both versions. So Hadija here, I'm sure, is master of the tagine. She's just cutting up the vegetables to make it now. The chicken over there finally got what she wanted. Ran away with a piece of carrot. It is kind of chilly in here, so we're making an afia. Afia? La afia. That's the fire over there.
Matisha.
Jesus.
Yvonne.
Yvonne is how I actually got these guys to remember my name. It's one of the green vegetables. It's like green peas or something like that. And it sounds almost like my name. Eva, Yvonne. Basically the same thing, right?
Halas.
And now we wait. And our beautiful tagine, after 2 hours of cooking, is finally ready. Here in Morocco, we eat with bread. We dip it in the tagine, in the vegetables, pick up a few pieces, and this is how we eat. All together from the same bowl, each using our own individual piece of bread. Absolutely delicious. So good. So juicy, really, really fresh, perfectly aromatic. Perfect homemade tagine. Eventually, after 3 days and 2 nights, my stay with this Amazigh family came to an end. I don't want to romanticize how they live, because it's a very tough and modest life. But I feel like I do need to point out one thing about them, and how they interact with the world around them. You know, the important thing to note is that this hospitality is beyond simply welcoming a guest. This is, for me, I believe, true kindness. Imagine, one day you wake up to a knock on the door, you open it, and you see a stranger who doesn't look like you, who doesn't speak your language, who doesn't necessarily share your values, doesn't dress like you do. What do? Do you welcome them? Or do you send them away? These guys didn't send me away. In fact, they made me feel like part of their family.